Now to disassemble this rifle, I'm going to have to use an Allen key. And again, when you're disassembling a rifle, make sure it's empty before you start disassembling it. I'm going to pull the fore end off. So again, bolt back, whatchamacallit up there, disassemble. I don't really need to disassemble this top half any further, but the nice thing is, if I need to, it's going to be very easy for me to clean the ramp there and the chamber and to run a cleaning rod through this thing. So super simple here. Now for the rest of it, I'm going to be using a 5/32 Allen key. And I'm going to get those 2 action screws loosened off and out. Once they're fully loosened, I should be able to pull this thing right off. Come on. There we go. Now there you can see that insert there. You can also see that the ejector is one solid piece with this. So if you break your ejector, you probably need to replace the whole insert there. So food for thought. Now this upper is extremely compact. If you look at the travel on the bolt here, it's so short and it's so compact. It's all in this one little package, which is kind of interesting. So they've made some design considerations to try to get it into this little package. I think that there's a couple things that are just a little bit weird about it, but I'll show you that when we get into it. First, what we need to do is get these 2 pins out so we can pull this trigger pack out. And I'm just going to press them with my Allen key. They're not under any kind of real pressure. They're just ready to come out there. They were being held in by that stock, really. So that's all there is to the trigger pack. And when you take a look at the trigger pack, it's very 1022-esque, actually. It's very similar to a 1022. So we can put the safety off and we can put that hammer forward if we want to, clean in there. Again, very simple setup here. Now next I'm going to have to pull that bolt handle off, and it's in there with, again, a 5/32 Allen key. And there's the bolt handle, and its little Allen key is just inside there. Now when you look at the bottom of this thing, it's kind of interesting. There's our recoil spring at the back. This is the back of it. This is the front, and it just kind of cycles in there. What we need to do is get that guy out, kind of kick him out. So I should just be able to dig at it. Now I've got that guy just peeled back, and what this is going to let me do is grab onto it and kind of pull it out. And then it just pops out of there. Now when you pull your bolt out, you might find these little pins loose. They're actually supposed to be right here, holding that bolt face in. So you can push that bolt face back in and then take those little pins and pop them back into the top of that bolt. Now off the rear of the bolt here comes our recoil spring and our carrier. That would be a carrier on a shotgun. I don't really know what to call it here, but carrier, sure, why not? Little guide thing. And our rubber buffer for the back there. Now, if you want to fully disassemble this bolt, you're going to have to do a couple of things. One of them is pull those pins out. I just showed you how to put it back in. There's my 2 pins. Now it's getting a little bit looser. Next, I'm going to need to pull this pin right there, and that's for the extractor. So what I'm going to do is push in on the side here on that extractor just to take up the pressure there. And then I'm going to pull at that pin and pull it right out. Now I'm holding on to that extractor because it really wants to go, and I don't want it to smoke me in the face. There's the extractor. There's the big bad spring that was holding it in. And now I can take the bolt head off if I want to. So also let me take this spring and the firing pin out of there. And once the firing pin's out, I can also take out this dead blow weight in the back. This, I don't remember what it's made of. Tungsten maybe? It's heavy. This is a real heavy piece here. Normally with like a blowback bolt, you need a lot of weight in it, but then you need a lot of mass, right? So what they've done is go with a regular bolt and a dead blow weight in there that helps to keep this thing nice and compact. Now to reassemble, I'm going to take my dead blow weight, pop it in the top of the bolt there. I'm going to grab my firing pin. This little round nubby bit is at the back, and the pointy bit is at the front. Spring goes over top. And it goes into that channel in the front. Wiggle it around there until it starts popping out the back. Then you know it's far enough. Next, after that, I'm going to grab my bolt head and I'm going to start sneaking it in there. Now, rather than trying to take that extractor out and fight with it and separately fight with this bolt head, I'm going to try just putting the bolt head in first, just wiggling it until it gets in place there. Then I'm going to take those 2 pins, I'm going to pop them in. There, now I've got those guys in. My big bad spring is still on the side there. I'm going to take my extractor and get it loosely in place. Grab my pin. I'm going to look in through the top of, on this hole here until I see the extractor matching up. Right about there, and get that pin through. There we go. And it feels like it's working. Yep, I can feel that extractor. It looks good. I've got my bolt back together. Now, would I strip this thing down every time? No, not even close. I mean, I might get into this extractor if I run like a few thousand rounds through it, but not anytime soon. I would get the bolt face, I would wipe the carbon off of it if it's starting to gunk up, and throw some oil on it and call it good. Now, while we're reassembling here, I'm going to take my carrier, whatever, it's going to point in through the back there. And to get this bolt back in, I'm going to have to clear this guy right here first. So I'm going to stick my bolt in face first. Nose first, whatever. And then I've got that. I'm actually going to hold it up like this. Those 2 pins there, sometimes they might come out if that bolt face loses pressure. So I'm just going to keep it facing up. I'm going to get that little tail there, sneak it in, and then just push it all the way up to the top. I might need to click it in place there just to make sure it's all the way in there as much as possible. Next, I'm going to put my bolt handle on, and again, I have a choice between right and left on this one. I'm going to put it on the left because I think that's the right way to do it. Once I've got that bolt handle on, I'm just going to test, make sure that it's cycling correctly. It's going all the way to the rear, and it is. So I can tell it's going all the way to the rear because this bolt just gets to the back of that slot there. You can see there that it's flush with the back of the slot. That means it's going back all the way. Next, I'm going to have to put my trigger group, trigger pack, thingamabobber in there. I am looking through to see if I can see those holes. I'll take my pins, and there shouldn't be any pressure here. I'm just going to pop them right in there. I'm just using finger pressure. I'm just trying to get them even on both sides. And really the place that I would really focus if I was going to clean one of these things is right here. Again, that feed ramp, the chamber, the barrel. I want to make sure that's all clean because that's probably where I'm going to start seeing my first failures, is in a really gummed up chamber and feed ramp and that kind of thing. So I'm going to take my upper, pop it on the lower there. Upper, lower, sure, why not? We can go with that. And I can just run these action screws back in.